This is Soul to Soul, and I am ecstatic that Pastor Artie is back with us to give us an inspiration. Hi, Artie. How are you?
Hello there. How are you?
Good, thanks. Count all things
Great.
as good. Count all things as good. Go ahead, Artie.
Yes. Count all things as joy. No matter what we go through, it's all a joy.
Okay, honey.
Hey, this past week, I've been studying the life of David, King David. And there's a couple of things, actually one specific thing that really intrigued me about him. And I'll begin in Acts chapter 13 and verse 20. It says, after that he gave them judges for about 450 years until Samuel the prophet. And afterward they asked for a king. So God gave them Saul, the son of Kish, a man of the tribe of Benjamin, for 40 years. When he had removed him, he raised up for them David as king, to whom also he gave testimony and said, and here's the part that intrigued me, it says, I have found David, the son of Jesse, a man after my own heart, who will do all my will. I really, really like that, because David is the only one in the Bible that God calls him a man after his own heart. Now, what intrigues me about it is that David was really the opposite of what we would consider a man after God's own heart, right? We know a lot about David's life. David, he slayed Goliath. He was a giant killer. David was king of Israel. David would go out to war during the day. He would slaughter people, kill people. And then at night, he would come home and he would worship God. He would write psalms. I mean, some of the psalms that he wrote are absolutely beautiful. Amazing poetry would come out of David. He was the psalmist. He was a musician. He was a worshiper. He loved God. But to me, there was so much contradiction between his life and what he did. But yet God said he was a man after his own heart. So I began to look at it and wondered, what is it? Because I want to be a man after God's own heart. I think we all do.
Yes, we all do.
God's heart.
Yes, we all do.
Yeah. So what is it? What is it about David that he had God's heart? We also think about Bathsheba, right? What he did.
Oh, yeah, what he did there.
That's bad, really bad.
Bad.
And then he had her husband killed.
Yes, he did.
That's really bad. But yet God said he was a man after his own heart. Well, as the story goes, one of the things that we know is that Nathan the prophet came to him after he had an affair, and he had Uriah killed, her husband. And Nathan the prophet called him out and said, David, you did this. And one of the things that we see David do immediately is he repented. And throughout David's life, he repents over and over and over again. He's always humble before God. He's always falling on his face before God. And even in the Psalms, you see that, right? You see his heart being poured out. He says, God, remove, he says, your word have I hidden in my heart, that I may not sin against thee. He says all these amazing things. So what that tells me is that there's hope for all of us.
Uh-huh.
If David could be such a mess during the day, that at night he could fall down on his face before God and cry out and say, God, search me. Search my heart, Lord. Show me where I'm wrong so I can repent. It shows me that really God is looking for a humble and a soft heart in us, because we're not perfect. All of us have problems. We all have things that we deal with. Yet God didn't hold it against him. I mean, yeah, there were consequences for his sin, some very severe consequences.
Oh, he did. Yeah. Yes, he did.
But God said, you're a man after my own heart. And think about this. Jesus came from David's lineage.
That's right.
And he said that, that David, he promised David, there'll be a king on your throne forever.
Yeah.
Right? From your lineage.
Yes.
And so to me it's intriguing because, like I said, there's hope for all of us. If David was such a mess, there's still hope for us. And the key was he loved God so much that as soon as he knew he was wrong, he was on his face before God, repenting, pouring his heart out, telling God how sorry he was. And it was sincere. It wasn't fake.
That's an amazing insight that you have, and I think it's worthy to go all over the country. I never heard anybody say all that about David. I think it's terrific.
It is. It really is. I mean, David is an intriguing man. And, and the fact that God even honored him by having his great-great-great-great-great-grandson to be Jesus. To me, it's astounding that God would do that for him.
Yes.
Think about Psalm 22 that David wrote. God literally gave him insight into the crucifixion on the cross. So David saw, now again, in the flesh, Jesus is his great-great-great-great-great-great-grandson, correct? Because he came from his lineage. But we know Jesus' father is God. Right, but in the flesh, he came from David's lineage, from the tribe of Judah. And David saw his great-great-great-great-great-grandson Jesus on the cross. He even wrote the words, my God, why have you forsaken me? Which Jesus literally said on the cross. But he penned those words, 1,000 years before Jesus ever showed up.
Wow.
So there's something about David that we need to learn. Because we should all be men and women after God's own heart. Can you imagine a world filled with men and women after God's own heart?
Wonderful.
Oh, it'll be amazing.
Wonderful.
Now, there's one other thing that intrigued me about David, because David was a great leader. He was king. Right? Everybody considers him the greatest king that ever lived. Even Israel does. They revere David. So when David took over Jerusalem, right, he said he had to build a temple. He had to build something for God. But he realized one thing was missing. He said the presence of God is not here.
Ooh.
He said, we have everything. We've got Jerusalem. We restored the kingdom, but we need God.
Yeah.
What he did is he went after the ark. He said, go find the ark and bring it here. Because without the presence of God in your home, in your country, we're nothing.
Right.
And David realized that.
Oh, yeah.
David ran after the presence. He was hungry for the presence of God, that he commissioned his men to go and get the ark and bring it here. And remember when he saw the ark coming, it said he danced like nobody danced. Danced his clothes off, it says.
And he had the presence of God.
Yes. And he had the presence of God.
Oh, this is wonderful.
He danced so much that even his wife, Michal, remember, she made fun of him. King, look at you. You're disgusting. And he says, lady, I'll do even more than this because God is finally in my house.
Good.
And so we have to have that same attitude. We need that same heart that I don't care what it looks like. I want God. If you think I'm crazy for praising God, for being happy because God is in my house, then so be it.
Listen,
it's not changing me.
I thank you for bringing God into our house this morning. Right, Vicki?
Yes.
And right, Phil?
Yes.
Thank you for bringing God into our house this morning.
Amen. We all need him. He needs to be. He needs a place in our homes.
Yes, he does.
In our country too. Our
Oh.
country is going down the tubes. We need God back in the White House. We need God back in our schools. Nothing is going to go right until we do that.
Yes, well, that's it. I don't think God will let that happen, honey. I think God will save us, honey.
Yeah, but we need a David. We
Yeah.
need somebody
Yeah, we need a David.
stand up and say, you know what? We're Christians after God's heart.
Yes.
And all we want is God.
Okay, I'll do the benediction. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
May the God of peace sanctify all of us through and through. Amen.
Amen.
I'll talk to you next week at 11, honey.
Yes, ma'am. God bless you.
We're all indebted to you. Bye-bye, dear.
Bye-bye.
This is Glendora, and this is Soul to Soul, and folks, I can't tell you how exhilarated I am at last to have my friend Phil on camera with all of us. Phil, you've been a vegan for 19 years?
Yes.
How did it all start, Phil?
I was working a job going around to different festivals during the summer, and I met some people from a vegan booth, and I felt sorry for them because so many people were treating them horrible ways, going in front of them and eating meat, for instance.
Oh.
And it turns out I knew some of the people that they knew, and we struck up conversation, and then they said, just give it a 2-week try. And I ended up eating, because we were on the road, and I didn't have too many options, peanut butter and bagels for 3 days. I couldn't think of anything else. And after the 2 weeks were up, I knew I couldn't go back.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Phil, did they have a film to show people?
Yes, they did.
What was their name? Is it Vegan Outreach?
It was PETA, in fact.
Oh, it was actually PETA.
Mm-hmm.
Just take a moment to footnote and tell people about PETA.
Okay. PETA is an animal activist organization based in Newport News, Virginia. They have a wonderful office that I've actually been to, where they allow you to bring your pets to work every single day. And they're involved in many different avenues, including outreach to young people, using things like pop culture, celebrities, which, unfortunately, young kids listen to them. So if you can get them to go vegan, you're going to get them to listen to them.
Phil, what's the name of the woman who founded that?
Ingrid Newkirk.
Yes. Folks, would you look up PETA on the web, please? And if you could, just get a few pennies to further their cause. And, Vicky, would you write down on a piece of paper, donation PETA?
Sure.
And we'll send them some money this month, too, Phil. All right, now back to your story. After you finish eating your bagels, then what'd you do?
Well, some other people who we traveled with on the festival circuit found out that I was trying out veganism, and they had been vegan, and they offered advice, which was really great. So that helped, knowing what to do. The best advice I ever got was go into the store focusing on what you can have and not what you can't. And
Say that again, Phil. Go into the store, what?
focusing on what you can have and not what you can't. And then not only will you find what you need, but you'll be out of there a lot faster than if you're a meat eater who's got all these extra choices to choose from.
And it was a point of no return, Phil?
Point of no return.
Good for you.
You lose the taste for a lot of the stuff.
And you're 6'5", right?
Yep.
Now, tell us some more. You are very good at finding bargains in veganism, honey. What are they?
I'm very cheap. Well, there's a lot of... COVID changed the way that stores do couponing. It's no longer just a cut things out and then hand them to the cashier. You have stores doing digital coupons that can be loaded onto your store loyalty card. Now, you can do this while you are riding in public transportation or waiting during a commercial break or watching TV. I was going to say, while talking to Glendora, she can't see. Sometimes I do that when she names a product. I look it up on the app. But these apps want you to buy the product, and they think that once you do buy it, you'll want to keep trying it, even if you're not going to get the same discount. So one of the hot new items out there in food trends is vegan food. And you will see on these apps like Ibotta and Fetch Rewards, like ShopRite and Price Chopper offering coupons. They're putting vegan products in there because that's what people want to try. And if you do a little work, you do your homework, you can save a lot of money.
Really, Phil?
Yes.
Now, a lot meaning what? I saw one thing where you saved $400 in coupons in 1 year.
More than that.
On 1 year.
More than that. It was probably one loyalty card.
Yeah, that's what it said.
I
You
might
had
have
saved
two.
$400 in coupons.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us more, would you?
Okay, well, it's almost Thanksgiving, and a lot of stores will offer a free turkey if you spend a certain amount of money. But stores like ShopRite here are offering vegan items. Gardein and Tofurkey.
Tell me more about Gardein and Tofurkey.
Gardein and Tofurkey offer roasts different than their regular products. They're just specific items that are shaped kind of like a lump of what a dead turkey would look like, I guess.
And a dressing?
Yep, they have a whole kit of different sides that you can have. And these were included, I know here in ShopRite, if you spend $400. But the thing is, you don't have to spend $400 to qualify.
Oh?
You have to purchase enough items that would add up to $400 if you didn't coupon or use your saving skills.
Say that again.
So the stores compile the price you would pay if you weren't getting a discount. But if you're using coupons, you're getting rebates, you're saving money, you may only spend, I think last year we spent less than $200 towards the free stuff that we got. Yeah. Always check the policy.
Uh-huh.
Customer service desk.
Yes, dear. What, dear?
So I had a feeling you wanted some good vegan news today.
Yes, I did.
Beyond Meat, starting today, is launching in 4,000 stores their vegan steak.
Vegan what?
Steak.
Oh. Fig?
Steak.
Steak.
Steak. Yep.
They have a vegan steak?
Yep.
Tell me about it.
It took a lot longer to develop, but they say that it comes closer than anything they've ever done so far.
Well, they're close, honey. You've got to try their hamburgers. You've got to try them. They're hamburgers. And what else do they have, honey, besides hamburgers?
Apparently a popcorn chicken is coming.
Wow.
And proprietary products for Starbucks and
Really?
Taco Bell.
Yes. Do they make those things that I like so much, those breaded, what are they? Breaded what?
Chicken nuggets, chicken
Yeah.
tenders.
Do they make those?
Yes, they do.
Well, those are delicious. Utterly delicious. So much better than any nugget vegan you've ever had. Okay. Any advice that you would give our viewers, honey, about veganism?
I'd say it's the same advice I got. Focus on what you can have and not what you can't, and you'll do much better, not just in your food choices, but in life. Don't focus on the negative, focus on the positive.
And you have the feeling that veganism is growing and growing and growing?
Oh, yes.
What'd you tell me about plant-based milk?
At Walmart, I counted up the areas that they were selling vegan milk, made from all the different plant sources they have now, and dairy milk from cows, and there were more plant-based milk offerings.
Really?
Yep.
And then did you tell me they had an eggnog, a plant-based eggnog?
Oh, they did, and I brought it today.
You did?
Yep, you can have some for lunch.
Oh, yes, thank you very much. Well, Phil, say goodbye to my people.
It's rolling.
Okay, Phil, for being on camera. Vicky, what is this thing you do with Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, which is one of our foremost educational institutes in the whole United States, RPI in Troy?
Yes, so I am a video technician at RPI, and I am not a full-time staff there, but I am what they call an overhire, which means that when they have special events or artists come in and do special performances, they call me in to provide video support, whether that's running a camera or lately I've been doing assistant stage managing. So I will help the artists and the director out with whatever they need. So whether that's, getting batteries for their cameras or printing out scripts or things like that. So I've expanded my position there a little bit.
Do you do any editing for them?
Not at the moment. I did before COVID. I was doing a lot of editing for them. I would come in weekly, but I have not been doing editing this time.
Well, tell the folks about your master's degree in documentaries. Tell them about that.
Oh, yes. So I have an MFA, Master of Fine Arts from RPI, which I graduated with in 2009. And
MFA really stands for More Foolish Acts.
That's not far from the truth. With some of the students I worked with. But, so I needed to complete a video, and I actually completed 2 documentary videos, one on Glendora, and then one about my grandmother. And then worked very closely with different professors there to make the videos the best they could be.
Well, honey, didn't you make one about a boy that they thought was never going to live?
So that's my newest documentary. So that's not through RPI, but there's a documentary that I just completed, and I've sent it out to film festivals now, and it's called Into Loving Hands, and we had a premiere private screening in July, and now I'm sending it out to festivals, and I'll set up a screening tour.
Oh, wouldn't that be wonderful? And if you win, honey, what do you get?
Well, the festivals, some of the festivals have awards, and some will just play the movie, which I'm excited about either, of course. But if I do win, like a best documentary category, there could be some prizes, like up to $1,000.
Oh boy!
But it depends on the festival. But I'll just be happy to have the film play in any of the festivals, because I would too.
I would too.
It's a good place to meet people who are in film.
What's that, dear?
It's a good place to meet people who are working in film and maybe create opportunities
for
the future.
And we can play it on our 72 TV stations, can't we? Yeah,
it's an hour. It's about an hour long. I probably will have to edit it down to 58 minutes to play on WMHT is interested in playing it.
Oh, goody!
Because that's our local PBS, and it's about a local family.
That's our local public service. No, public.
It's the educational.
Yeah, the educational
arm of
channel.
PEG.
Right. And I'm on the uneducational channels. Well, yes, we can do that. Oh, I think that's grand. Now, you went to New York University also, didn't you?
Yes, I did. That's where I got my first master's. But that was just an MA, not an MFA.
How many masters do you have?
2. 2.
And then
I'm still paying for one.
Yeah,
I'm still paying for NYU.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that one. How much is that amount?
60,000. 60-ish.
Oh, bless your heart.
Yeah, but I'm hoping that I'll get 20,000 taken away with the new student loan forgiveness.
For what reason?
The new the Biden administration is forgiving up to $20,000.
Wow!
Yeah.
Wow! Do you hear that, Phil?
Yeah.
So I submitted my application. And hopefully I will find out soon if I get 20,000 just taken off my balance.
Oh, yes.
Which will be exciting.
Okay, wait a second, folks. I'll take...
Should we see if that's Wayne?
Hello?
Hi, Glendora. It's Lori Dunnigan.
Thank you, Phil. Are we done?
Yep.
Or we're just starting?
We're just starting.
With the chat with Glendora, you can't tell the difference on whether you're starting and finishing. Now, women's studies...
Oh, when I did my undergraduate degree, I studied psychology in women's studies. And that was when I took a women in film class, and that's when I decided that I wanted to go to grad school for documentary film.
Yes. And you're so happy with that, aren't you?
Yes.
And I think your career is really moving ahead right now, don't you?
Yeah, finishing the film, my newest film, was a big accomplishment because it usually takes me about 10 years to finish a film.
No.
So, not
No.
with you, not your film, but my grandmother film was 10 years and this one took 10 years because I kept following, them.
Yeah.
Over many years. So it takes me a long time.
Well, this is so fascinating. Folks, there's 4 of us now. There's Phil, there's Vicky, there's Glendora, and there's Google Nest. Okay, Google.
We're going to wind up today's show and look forward to seeing you all next week, right?
Oh,
Or
yeah.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Depending where you're watching. If you're watching on YouTube, Glendora and Phil will be back tomorrow.
That's continuous, isn't it?
Phil's
Hi,
back
everyone.
there.
And
And
all,
I will not be back tomorrow, but I will be making this show.
you will be editing it,
I'll be editing and uploading.
and you'll send it to Pittsburgh Public Access TV.
Pittsfield, yeah. Pittsfield.
Yeah, Pittsfield
Mass.
Public Access TV.
Yep, I'm going to send it there in a little bit.
And so Glendora says goodbye. And Google, thank you for all your hard work.